Hello everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and I'm playing in the large black media journal from Dina Wakley. This is the one that's been re-released recently with all the different substrates in it. I'm going to be working, as you can see, on the watercolour paper, and I'm starting off by adding in some collage paper. I haven't gessoed, so I am just using it as it is. So then I'm going straight in with some of Dina Wakley's paints. This is turquoise and my brush is quite dry at this point. So I'm just kind of adding that onto my page, moving it around quickly because the paper isn't gessoed. The paint will absorb quite fast into the paper. If you want to have more playing time, then gesso is a really good idea to get in there first. You can see that where I've smooshed that on in the brush marks, it isn't moving around. And it is kind of staying where it's been put. So yeah, if you want that bit more flexibility, then adding some gesso first is a great idea. So that was iris. This is raspberry. These have to be three of my absolute all-time favourite colours. I just absolutely love them. This is one of Dina's most recent coaster stencils. Is it called Big Circle? Something like that, I'm not sure. I'm just going in and adding some bits of stenciling, and you'll notice that I'm just using the colours that I've already started with. That one's called Tire Tracks. Obviously stencil's called Pieces. This is an older one, and here I'm just using the raspberry and adding some of those nice kind of dash marks onto my journal page. So I haven't added any extra colours on there at the minute. I'm keeping it, sorry about that, banged my watch on the desk. Keeping it fairly cohesive and just using the colours that I added on the page to start off with. I don't know about you guys, but old favourites. I have favourites in just about everything, whether it's paint, brushes, it's stencils and stamps. I have sets that I often reach for. And I think it's just because I love the emotion that they portray. This is the pensive face stencil. I don't know if you can still get it. I imagine you probably can. I just love it. It's quite piercing with the way it looks. I know I've said before, when I first got it, I wasn't sure about it. I thought it had a bit of a sort of creepy look about it, but I don't think that anymore. I think it's quite intense, and I like that intenseness, the intensity that it gives. So I've gone in with black, and you can see I extended the stenciling to the top and the bottom of my page, just pulling that out. Just use the blending tool to do that. And then now I'm using an ink, oh dearie me, a text stamp with black archival ink, just adding some stamping over the edges, and that is just to help kind of soften those lines. Now I am using mustard. It's a really warm yellow, one of the most recent colours Dina released, and this is the Burst Coaster stencil. A very directional stencil, and I love it. It's great for just adding those little pops of warmth. This is a stamp from the Sticks with Leaves set, and I'm just bringing in a little bit of stamping onto my page as well. I have realised that I have things that I often do when I'm creating journaling. It's almost like things that I like to use that I know work. Botanical stamps, leaves, branches. I love adding those to the edges of my pages. I think it helps with the flow for me, and it's a great way to kind of create that blend. Now I'm coming in with one of my my own dot stamps, dipped into some white paint. That is also a great way to soften edges, just adding a little bit of stamping. It's similar to adding splattering, but I guess it's a little bit more deliberate. And then I'm using that space on the right hand side to just write my words. I'm going straight in with my Posca pen, and journaling into that space. My journaling, I often use quotes to portray what I feel, and finding quotes that work is, I often just sort of like put in some keywords that relate to what I'm feeling and see which quotes come up and see which one is going to work best. And usually one will leap out at me and I'll be like, oh yes, it's that one. Never confuse people who are around you with people who are always there for you. So giving that a quick dry, because I think, yeah, I'm going to go in and just add a bit more depth to one side of some of the letters. This is something that I like to do. It kind of just gives those letters a bit more definition. Making sure that's dry first is a good idea because I've got my hand on it. I'm going to be smudging those letters that are already there, and making a mess. So although I quite like how this is looking at the minute, I did feel that the writing was a little bit too bold. So one way to push it away a bit is to outline those letters using a white pen, or a colour would work. It's just making the black part of those letters a little bit smaller so it's less obvious. Your eye looks at it. It doesn't kind of go to it first. But you can still read what's there, and so I'm kind of liking the effect of that. Now sometimes I'll do this and sometimes I won't. It will just depend how I feel when I look at my journal page. Do I think the words are too bold? And if they are, then I like to try and push them away a little bit, and this is one way that you can do that. Now, often once I've got that pen in my hand, that white pen, I will go in and start adding some more marks. So here I'm just adding some bigger circles onto my page, just helping the flow of those dots that I stamped on using the white paint as well. I've just added a few more dots in there, and then that is this page finished. So really impactful with that image from the stencil. Lots of fun to play with. That pensive face stencil from Dina Wakley. It's one of my favourites. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.